Hey, it's Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And it's Thursday. It is July 19th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And this is going to wrap up our week. No chart lessons on Friday. And even though this is pretty much what we've been seeing the last couple of days, this rally, of course, up through here was nothing like we've had the last couple of days. But still, we had the two legs down, and you got a two-tiered channel that looks like it's in play, and then suddenly prices break out and it goes higher. Even though there's a lot of sideways to this, you could trade this both ways really. And so it's similar, almost a repeat pattern again, although it's not that straight up pattern like this. It just keeps going straight up. So in that sense, it's a little bit different. It's not nearly as strong. But notice how we're still, look how we tested 2800, how we're still around that 2800 mark, and that's common because those are very emotional price levels, and it takes a while to work through them. Usually you'll play it on both sides for a week or so, and then it'll move on. So this is real common based on what you would kind of expect to see. So, and also I wanted to apologize about the video yesterday. I'm not sure what happened somewhere in the upload. It must have got corrupted, and because the mouse did not match with the they wasn't in sync, the sound. The first part it was okay because I watched a little bit of it and it was fine, but I kind of skipped on through, and somewhere at some point the sync got out with the audio, and you couldn't make heads or tails of it. So I apologize. If I get time, I may try to go back and reload the original video and do it again. I may just delete that video. There's, you could see some of it, but some of it you just couldn't make heads or tails of, and I apologize. But I'm going to double check this one today. Hope we don't have that problem. But I'm going to double check it just to see. I'm not sure if maybe I had too much stuff open, and for whatever reason, this Camtasia Studio that I used to record with, it uses a lot of memory, and the only thing I can think of, I had some other stuff open that I'd been working on my computer, and several charts and things like that, and so the only thing I can come up with is that maybe I ran out of memory. I didn't have enough memory, and it wasn't able to keep up. So hadn't had that problem in a long time, and that's the only thing I can think of, because normally I don't have very much open on my computer, and I did have a bunch of other things open. So anyway, I'm going to move on through this. Now my headphones are beeping that my battery is dying, so I'm not, next thing I want to do is have no audio. So I'm going to move on through this quickly so that we don't have the same problem tonight because of my battery dying on my headphones. Okay, I just went ahead and plugged the AC into my headphones, and I've got enough cord here that I can actually use it with the wire on it. So it's nice having the wireless option, but I'm going to run out of battery, I'm afraid. So anyway, let's get through these trades and wrap up the week. And when I came in, we were going sideways. This looks a lot like a breakout pullback long, and that's a really nice bar right there. It's a little big. You can see there's about 7 ticks in that bar, so what you'd probably want to do is let it break higher and drop a limit order in. You could have got filled all the way back at least a tick into that bar, which would have made it a lot better trade, and then you could have got in it with a 8-tick rule. And this turned out to be a fairly nice trade, but that's a little aggressive. I'd really like to see it come down and test it from the upper side, but it couldn't get back through the EMA, and that's a good sign. I don't think I would enter up here because you got a couple of bars going there, and this bar has a lot of stem on it, so I wouldn't enter up here. But I kind of like this setup right here, mainly because notice there's a double bottom. It's the first entry short, it's the second entry short, and it looks like it's going to be a real strong short, but you don't want to go short right into that support that we bounced off of all those times right there. So when this one closes outside, I kind of like it, and it's not unexpected that it would come back to try to test this. So that's exactly what it did before it bounced off the EMA and went higher. So you may let this close and then break above and then drop a limit order right back around the EMA, and risk that one. It's a little risky, so it's definitely green, but I like that because you may catch a reversal. This may just be a range day, and we may head all the way back to the top. So, but we actually get two quick moves outside. Usually I wouldn't count that first one if it keeps following that trend line, but if you get another one close outside like that and then it moves on up, I'd be concerned if that trend's probably gonna. You've probably met your criteria of the close outside the trend line. Regardless, this is you got a little bit of resistance across here, and this is a big bearish bar. Opens on its very high and closes on its very low. Look how far away we are from the EMA. I like that one back just to ride it back to the EMA, but we may get another leg down like this, and that would be a great place that it would probably start. And you can see that that would have been your target, and notice what we got there, and we bounced pretty strongly. So and you don't get a whole lot of opportunity to enter this trade. You pull back right here, it doesn't break above, but it pushes through the EMA, pulls back and tests, and gives you a little higher low right there and a big bearish bar. So I like that one. And you don't know that it's going to go straight down that quickly, but this turns out to probably be the trade of the day, and off it goes. That was a great entry. And then, of course, I would draw my trend line here, and you drag it down. And, of course, when it bounces down here, bounces right where you would expect it to bounce. So it's a good chance. And you can see the midline looks like it's working pretty well in there. So there's a good chance this is probably a valid channel. Although we saw the same thing yesterday, and it did almost exactly what it did right here. It starts down, looks like it's going to go lower, and then it reverses out of there. So I'll go back over here, and you can see where it did that yesterday. You had this channel working down, and it starts down and then reverses out of there, and that's almost exactly what it did today. So, but anyway, you get a confirmation of the trend line right here. That's too bullish. That bar's too big. So see if it comes back and it tests it again and gives you a nice bar. Still a little room to the EMA. I like that one. I really was hoping it would take off. It does jog back and gives you a failed second entry long and turns down again. So I like, if you didn't enter here, you could definitely enter here. And I'd probably add on there, since you got a failed second entry long and everything's closed below the EMA now, I'd probably jump in that one. I'm not sure if I talked about this trade. I may have passed that one. But this rockets back up. You get a first entry short, pushes through the EMA, gets a failed second entry short, and a bullish bar that closes above the EMA. And so you're probably headed back to here. So I like that one. Normally I wouldn't be looking to take longs, but that's a really strong pull out of there, and that's one leg up with that failed second entry long. You also already got two measured legs down, and you've got what looks like a valid channel that prices should move back to this side, and you got a lot of room there. So I think that one's worth risking in that instance. Although you do got to be very careful about buying in a downtrend, but it's clear that there's two legs down there. And so then, of course, I talked about these two trades. This pushes on down. Of course, it bounces here. We'll draw your trend line just in case. And then you get a second entry short right here. The only problem with this is normally I'd probably eat this one up. But this bar, I think, is 10 ticks. So in order to enter this and put your stop, you got to have 12 ticks. That's 3 points that you're risking right there, right at the EMA. And we had a same type deal yesterday that failed very similar to this. So the only way I would enter this, plus you do have that a little bit of resistance, support resistance line across there. So you got to be worried, a little bit worried about that. So the only way I would play this would be to let it break lower and drop my limit order, maybe a tick or two, whatever it takes to get out before it gets to here. Or definitely before it gets to that spot right there. But I'd probably play that previous support right there. And if you can get in it with that and get out, then I'd take that trade. Otherwise, I'd wait. And then, of course, it looks like it's going to give you a lower high, but it's too big a bar. And it never broke below this one, and this one never ticked higher either. So I'd just sit tight here. And, of course, it does break out. And notice what happens. You got a double bottom here, so you can count that as a new low. And there's a first entry, and there's a second entry, and it bounces right off that same trend line. And it actually goes lower and turns and goes out the upper side. But I'd wait on this bar to close and put a buy stop right there. Assuming that it may do just what it did yesterday. This may take on off, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. There's a little small bar here that you might risk, but it's a first entry. It's a little inside bar. It's a perfect doji. The only thing is it's 2 ticks in it, so there's not a lot of risk there. Of course, your stop would need to go below this one, so that maybe makes it 3 or 4 ticks. So it's fairly low risk. Thinking about it like that, you may take that trade if you want to be aggressive, but I'd probably skip it. And then we continue to work higher, but you got to close outside here, and you're going sideways 2 dojis basically. You don't want to enter that, even though it moves up. But now you got a new high, and of course it is right up here by this trend channel. And notice that little gap right there. That's usually a good sign that there's a, don't ask me why this works, but it does. And you can see we kind of gapped over that, and that turns out to be where the upper trend channel line is. And that's a good indication that that's probably the right place right there. And I can't explain why it does that, but it does it. And I've seen it over and over and over. So when it comes up here and turns down, I wouldn't be afraid to look for shorts if you get a reversal type pattern. And you do get a reversal of failed second entry long, but look at that bar. Look how much, hopefully you can see that. Look how much stem is right there. You got to go short right into the EMA basically. I don't like that. When it does pull back here and test it again, but we got a little overshoot, that's a bullish bar. I don't want to risk that. And notice how it gaps over right there. How it gapped over that trend line. Again, I can't explain why it does it. I got some theories on what happens there, but that's always a good sign you got your trend lines or your lines in the right place. And of course we rock it up, and you get this bar here. And this is somewhat of a repeat pattern of this move down and then the big move up and the big bar. It looks a lot like that. You did get an overshoot here, so it could turn back down, but you're all above the EMA, and that pushed up pretty quickly. I just don't think you want to risk. There is enough room to get back to the trend line and bounce again, but you're going short right into that EMA when we just rocketed right through it like it wasn't even there. So I'm not crazy about that one. Then we come back down here and we test this support area again. Notice how we bounce right off that again. You get a first entry, you get a second leg up, it comes down, and you get a failed second entry short and a big bullish bar that bounces right off that trend line. And you would look for this to try to make a new high, which it did before it sold off again. And so you probably want to go long right there. It is into these highs right here, but this is an uptrend, and you're looking for a retest to the high. And this is a fairly bullish bar. What you might do again is let it break higher and drop a limit order a little bit further back in here to give you some room. I don't know if I would risk that all the way back to here. I don't think it's worth risking. Oh, and look at this. If you might need to change that trend line just a little because of that gap right there. And you can see that does tend to fit the closes a little bit better. You know, I see that over and over and over. So watch for those gaps around your trend lines. There's 3 of them today that I've seen so far. But this is a failed second entry short. There's 2 legs up. We're looking for it to go higher. It bounces right off a key entry point when we're looking for it to go higher. Again, I don't know if I'd risk it to come all the way back to here and to enter. But I like that. And of course, this is your signal bar on your higher low. And this is somewhat of a breakout pullback for this right here. But that bar is not very good. This one's nice and bullish, but this is really your signal bar. I'd skip that. And of course, we run up there and we make a new high, and then it starts selling off. And you do have a failed second entry long right here off what looks like a trend line, but look how much we're going sideways in the stems. That's congestion right at the EMA. I'm not going to risk that one, but look what happens. It pushes through, pulls back, tests the underside, turns down, I'd go short right there. And once again, that's another nice trade. And I got you into the 2 o'clock hour. So this was, even though this is an uptrend right here, look how prices are on both sides of the EMA. You can trade that both ways. This one, we were mostly below the EMA, so you're only going to take shorts here. It looked like we were going to start going higher here. So taking any longs, and you're still looking for shorts here. But now you got, and we talked about this, but now you got the 2 legs down, and it pushes back through the EMA, and you got to assume we're coming back to here at a minimum. So, but that's the only trade I saw there, and it's real close to being green. You could probably argue for it to be green because it's a little aggressive. And then we already talked about that one. And so, not a bad day. Again, very similar to what we've seen the last couple of days. Prices continue to test this 2,800 level, and it'd be interesting to see if we're going to go higher or not. But as of now, we're still just trying to find direction above that. So we're probably going to test it a few times, and we'll go from there. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for today and wrap it up for the week. We'll be back again to do it Monday, but I'm done for today and done for this week. Hope you had a good trading week. Hope you had a good trading day. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.